Hello and welcome back. It's been a moment. I apologize first off to everyone for being absent for so long from YouTube. You know that old saying, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it? That happened to me this year with my Christmas markets. The hope for Christmas markets is, of course, that they will be incredibly successful and you will sell all the things. And that would be fantastic if you just had one Christmas market. But when you have a multitude of Christmas markets and all of them are, well, my 3 Christmas markets this year were the 3 best markets I've ever done. But it meant that between the markets, I didn't even have time to sleep, let alone record a podcast, as I was desperately trying to get enough merchandise to go to the next market. So, something had to give, and it was unfortunately filming a podcast. I just couldn't find the time. And then by the end of the markets, I was exhausted. As I said, my 3 Christmas markets this year were the 3 best markets I've ever done. So in previous videos, I did talk about my new strategy for preparing for markets, for picking out a product line as opposed to just making all the things. It worked. It worked better than I could ever have hoped for. I have already begun planning for next year's markets, and that I believe is going to be the key. Starting early, determining what my colors and my patterns are going to be for my next market. So again, I have a curated collection for people to come shop. It made all the difference in the world for these last markets, so I'm going to run with it again. The other thing I'm really thinking of doing, however, is really utilizing some of the retail background that I have. And it sort of started with picking a curated collection and bringing that for my customers. I am now looking at inventory levels because I do not want to repeat the chaos, the insanity that was trying to keep up my inventory. So I believe what I'm going to be doing this year is building up my inventory before my markets start, knowing how many pieces I expect to sell throughout the number of markets that I book. That's the inventory I need to have complete going into the first market. And then market after market, I will just sell down. No more of this having 3 of something and then having to create another 3 for the next market, knowing darn well I could have sold 5 or 6 of them if I'd had them. I am going to start out with my max level inventories and go from there. Yes, but more on that later in the year. I just thought I would give you a quick little recap and let you know that the markets were crazy successful. The 3 best markets I've ever done financially. They were well worth it. I will definitely be doing them again, but I do have to rethink my strategies just a little bit. So on the flip side of being so incredibly busy with the markets and crocheting like a mad woman to try and keep up, I kind of lost my crojo a little along the way, and I had to do a little bit of reprioritizing even in my crafting life. And thank goodness I have my cross stitch because it really did come to my rescue. So right now I'm really looking at cross stitch as being a complementary craft to what I'm doing with crochet, including designing, but we'll get more into that in a moment. So this podcast is going to be changing up a little bit as well because, New Year is right around the corner. Time to recalibrate, time to refocus. That's actually my word for 2020 is focus. keeping my focus on what I want to achieve. So this podcast is definitely going to stay crochet, but it is going to almost become a 50-50 split with crochet and cross stitch, because those are the two things now that I do every single day. Now, I am still unemployed. I have not yet found a new job to accommodate my disability. However, until that happens, I am splitting my time between crochet and cross stitch. That may change once I am working full time and have less time to focus on Rabe Creations. But until then, it's full steam ahead. And I hope you're willing to come along for the ride. It's going to be exciting. I have so many things planned for the new year. So I am going to double check my camera batteries, make sure everything is all right, and I will come back and talk to you a little bit about some exciting crochet news. All right, so some excitement on the crochet front. I have come up with a new pattern. So I would like to introduce to you today what I am calling the Nanton Cowl. Now, the word Nanton, the name of the cowl, comes from a town just outside of Calgary. I have taken to naming all my patterns after the towns that surround me. It seems to be the easiest way for me to figure out what to call things. So this is the Nanton Cowl. What inspired the Nanton Cowl? Well, I was trying to follow everybody's vlogmases and for the crochet or for the cross stitch community, the flossmasses that were happening. And honestly, I will admit right here, right now, I could not keep up. So many of you did such a amazing job with putting out podcasts or putting out episodes or putting out floss tubes every single day. I can't even. It would not, no. I couldn't keep up with you all, but you've done an amazing job. But I was watching a lot of people opening advent calendars, yarning related advent calendars, and some beautiful, beautiful minis were being opened. And then it dawned on me that there are a lot of knit patterns out there now that are focused on minis. So using up your minis. In fact, I've been watching a floss tuber, Michelle Bendy Stitchy, who was knitting up a cowl as she opened her advent calendar. And I thought, I want to do something in crochet that uses minis. Because I don't know about you, I didn't get an advent calendar this year, but I have a surplus of minis and leftover sock yarn. I don't think I would ever be able to crochet enough socks in my lifetime to use those minis for heels, toes, and cuffs. So I need to come up with something else. And one can only have so many scrap blankets. And I don't know about you, but the cost of making scrap blankets out of hand-dyed fingering weight yarn, wool, is a little prohibitive. Yeah, if you start adding up the cost of one of those blankets, wowzers. So I wanted something that was useful, something that wasn't going to take years and years of collecting minis to have a finished product like one of those scrap blankets. And I thought, well, these cowls are out there for knit. I could do this. So, sorry, I'm just looking out the front window. Nope, no delivery. All right, so back to where we were at. I came up with a crocheted cowl using between 7 and 8 minis, depending on the length of your minis, based on fingering weight minis. So this is the cowl that I have designed. Here it is. Now, as you can see, I still have some tails to weave in, But here it is. This was the prototype. So this was the first one I did. And as you can see, it does have stripes of different colors and there are some different textures. So it starts with a rib that I was inspired again through knitting by a 2x1 rib. So this starts out with a rib, then moves into a band of extended single crochet, then moves into a band of textured triplets, again, extended single crochet, some cabling, extended single crochet, and then again it finishes off with a band of ribbing. So for this one I just grabbed random minis out of my yarn stash, and this is what I came up with. I really like this. I like the super scrappy look of this. I'll pop it on quickly to show you. I'm going to mess up my hair. Actually, it is incredibly dry here. So everything is very, very staticky, including my hair. So this is the cowl. Oh, I just hit the microphone. I'm so sorry. This is the cowl when it's down. The nice thing about these cowls is they're long enough that if it's really cold out, you can pull it up and it can hood you as well. You can see some of the patterning on the side. Really, the patterning for me was what stopped it from getting boring, to be honest with you. I think it's easy if you were to just do the whole thing in a single stitch, it would get really, really, really boring. Now this is done with a fingering weight yarn on a size 4 hook, 4mm hook. So it's a larger hook than you might expect to use with a fingering weight yarn, but it gave it some nice drape. I didn't want it to be really, really stiff. Now, once I did this one, I thought, oh, I really love this one, but there's going to be people out there who don't like that super scrappy look. So then I created a second one. And this is the second one using much more chosen colors, but still minis. So again, you can see the different stripes of color, but there's different stripes of texturing as well. Again, it's the same pattern, so the same texturing. Now, what I did for this one is I rolled up my minis, tying them together with magic knots, and made one large mini ball. And just kept working. I allowed it to color change wherever it wanted to. I really found that it's not distracting at all with the color changes happening in mid-row, perhaps because it's such a fine yarn. If it was a bulkier yarn or you know, a thicker yarn, I think the color changes mid-row would be much more obvious and potentially more distracting. But because it's such a thin yarn, I don't find you notice it once it's hooked up, especially if you're dealing with the heavily variegated yarns and whatnot. So that is the Nanton cowl. So, release dates. I plan to have it released for January the 15th. So I want the pattern completely ready to go on Ravelry and on Etsy for January the 15th. However, I am right here, right now, putting out the plea for some testers. So, if you are available immediately to test this cowl, as I said, it's done in a fingering weight, preferably with minis, but doesn't have to be. So 7 to 8 minis would translate to just shy of 2 full skeins of fingering weight yarn. It can be done in solid color. It can be done in stripes, as I've done. You can control your stripes. You can just let it flow, whatever you'd like to do. As I said, it's using a 4mm crochet hook. Gauge isn't all that important as long as you're getting a nice drape. I will have the pattern ready to go to testers by January 1st, and I'm looking for people who can have the pattern finished by January 12th. I would say that there's probably an average of 8 to 10 hours of crochet in the cowl. So I know it's a big ask, but if there's anyone out there who would like to test this cowl, please get a hold of me at Rabe Creations at shaw.ca. I will link the email address below. Just shoot me off an email and let me know that you're interested. Please, please, please be able to meet the deadline. It's really important that I get the feedback before I release the pattern. All right, so that is it for my crochet news. Obviously, there has been a lot more crochet than that since the last time I talked to you about crochet, but in the interest of not having a episode that lasts 5 to 6 hours, I thought, you know what, let's let bygones be bygones and let's start fresh and start new. So that is my cowl. And again, looking for those testers. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, by all means, please contact me at that email address. All right, so moving into the cross stitch segment of today's podcast, I would like to show to you today one of the works in progresses that I have, my project that I have probably put the most stitches into in the past week, and that is Beggar's Christmas by Threadwork Primitives. So I ordered this pattern from 123 Stitch earlier in December, and I really just love it. Excuse me for the crinkling of the plastic. So this is the pattern. As you can see, it is a primitive style, and it has a crow on it. Surprise, surprise. And I am nearly done. So let me show you where I am at. So this is where I am at on the piece. It is being worked on a 18 count vintage country mocha Aida fabric, again from 123 Stitch. I am definitely an Aida stitcher. I do have one project right now on linen, and that's working out all right, but I do find that Aida stitching is much more relaxing for me because the holes are easier to see. But this is an 18 count, so a nice tight count. What can I say? I have changed the colors to just, they're matching colors, but not quite, because I am using stash. It looks like in the pattern that they were using variegated threads for the tree, for the basket that the tree will be in, that sort of thing. And I'm just using solid threads. But yeah, so far that's where I'm at. I'm really enjoying this stitch. It's going by quite quickly. I will, of course, as I film more episodes in this new format, be showing you more and more works in progress. What I'm planning to do is be recording about once every week right now while I am still unemployed, and showing you both what I'm hooking on in crochet and what I'm stitching on in cross stitch. So that is what I am working on most right now. In the cross stitch plans, I do take part in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, and we have just finished graduation for the year, and starting on January 1st, we will be doing a more of a Disney themed, not stitching, but Disney themed. Whereas last year was Harry Potter themed, this year is going to be Disney. There are books involved for reading, and different stitching, and yeah, it's really a lot of fun. If you're into cross stitch at all, I suggest going and checking it out. It is the Wilderness. I'm in the Wilderness Lodge. Yes, it's quite fun. It really does help inspire you to keep working on your projects. But the design bug has also hit me with cross stitch, which isn't too big of a surprise, to be honest with you. A lot of the techniques of designing tapestry crochet, if you think back to my my other cowl that I did, it is very much a tapestry crochet, and that sort of pixelated design work is exactly what happens with cross stitch. So it's no surprise to me that I have been bitten by the cross stitch design bug too. So I am planning to be releasing my first cross stitch pattern February 1st. And again, it will be available through Etsy. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited about that. So next up is going to be my shop update. And then I will close out this episode with an end of the year giveaway. Actually, I plan to be doing giveaways on most of my videos from now on at the end. So just so you know about that. So on to my shop update. Okay, so those of you who have been around for a while will know that I have an Etsy shop, Rabe Creations, surprise, surprise, on Etsy. I also sell patterns through Ravelry. But on Etsy, I have currently crochet patterns, project bags, a few finished crochet items. Those will be phasing out of my shop. Again, as we move into 2020, I have some new goals, some refocusing of the Etsy shop as well. Right now, though, I have to let you know, if you are watching this video between December 31st and January 6th, there will be 20% off all of my current stock in my Etsy shop. So if you would like to go and check that out, see what's in there for project bags, for patterns, any of my physical items shipping is included in the cost that's listed. And that does not change with the 20% off. So I'm just trying to clear things out and get a fresh start for the new year. So by all means, come on over and take a look at what is available in the shop. Place an order if you would like. Going forward in the shop, I will still be continuing with my crochet patterns and my crochet project bags. Well, I guess they could be for knitting as well. But I am also going to be branching out into cross-stitch patterns and cross-stitch project bags. So be on the lookout for those changes coming to the Etsy shop. Come on over and take a look. Now, if you would like to continue to be updated on what's happening in Etsy when I throw up those little flash sales and whatnot, by all means, when you're in Etsy, when you're in there under your account, favor my shop. And that way you will get notifications when things happen in the shop, when I upload new product or when sales happen. So for sure, come on over and check out what's there. If there's something that catches your eye, place an order. I would be forever grateful. Now, finally, we are going to get into some giveaways. So I have decided that I am going to be attaching giveaways to most every video that I do. They're not going to be huge giveaways. They are going to be little giveaways. I'll show you first what I'm going to be giving away, and then I will tell you how to enter. Please, please, please do not mention the word giveaway or win or anything like that in your comments below. I am trying to keep the trolls and the robots who enter these contests away. And just have these open for subscribers to the channel. So what do you need to do in order to win? Well, or in order to win a giveaway? 1, please be subscribed to the channel. 2, like this video. You know, all the regular things. And then 3, I will tell you at the end. So this is what I have to give away. So for the cross-stitchers among us, I have a couple of little patterns that I would like to give away. Now, these are designed to be bookmarks. They actually came out of a magazine, one of the British cross-stitch magazines. This is a little fairy. So the full chart is there. She is designed to be stitched with DMC on 14 count fabric. Of course, you can change that up and do whatever you'd like. But yes, there she is. There's a little fairy. So if you would like to win this chart, I will just pop it in an envelope with a stamp on it, and it can go anywhere in the world, so it's open worldwide. If you would like to win this, please in your comment down below, just put, I would like to stitch the fairy. I will be looking for the keyword fairy to draw the winner of this pattern. So the next chart I have to give away is again one of the little bookmarks, and it is a wizard. He is really, really cute. Again, fully charted in DMC or Anchor. It's all cross stitch and back stitch. There's whole stitches only. It is designed to go onto 14 count fabric, but again, that can be on anything you want. The stitch count is 96 by 30. So it should be a fairly quick little stitch. If you would like to enter for this chart, just put in, I'd like to stitch the wizard. I'm totally stealing that from Michelle Bendy Stitchy. And finally, for the crocheters out there, I have this set of 3 sparkly crochet hooks. They are fairly big in size, so there is a 10 millimeter, a 12 millimeter, and a 15 millimeter hook. Again, open worldwide. And if you would like to enter for the crochet hooks, please in the comments below put, I like the crochet hooks. I like the crochet hooks. Again, I'll be looking for the keyword hooks. All right, so those are the 3 giveaways. As I said a little bit earlier on, I am aiming to record more often, hopefully about once a week, at least while I am unemployed. And yeah, so for those of you who have just found this channel, welcome. For those of you who have stuck around and have come back, thank you so much for tolerating my absence. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Happy hooking, happy cross-stitching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye now.